Tuesday, December the 9th, 9 p.m. in the DMV. I'm Sam Giacinto.
And 6 p.m. here in Los Angeles. I'm Jack Armstrong. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Lots going on in LA this week, especially with Netflix, which is a tech streaming company, I guess we can say.
Yeah, we have to talk about this, right? Because as really, I don't know who doesn't know Netflix, at least in the US market, but we have seen in the last week or so essentially a battle between two titans of industry. We have the really battle tested Warner Bros. Studios and Netflix announcing sort of a unholy agreement for $82.7 billion in cash and stock. Netflix will essentially kind of surgically separate Warner Bros. Studios. Think of all the historical content, HBO, HBO Max, DC, and Harry Potter, and spinning off the quote unquote declining cable networks, CNN, etc., into a separate quote debt laden company. And just recently, Paramount, another media giant, has come in saying, we'll take the whole thing. Cable networks, CNN, TNT, TBS, Discovery included. We want the whole enchilada. We really want everything. We think the cable networks still generate cash and provide kind of a sports and news synergy. And, sort of legacy media giant versus really at one point, a startup who mailed DVDs through the mail.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's really what it's about, right? Like, how are we defining Netflix's position here, right? So you've got legacy media and a new tech company that started with DVDs. Now they're making their own. They really obviously sort of invented the streaming business. The first people that were cord cutting from cable were transitioning to Netflix before other streaming services became a thing. Now, obviously, we've got a plethora of streaming companies. Tech companies like Amazon and Apple have entered the market for eyeballs, obviously, in this bit entertainment business for the strongest subscribers, and the largest audience and the value that they can provide, because the tech companies really see, including Netflix. I mean, they are a media company, but really it is tech. I mean, they've built so much streaming infrastructure. They've built, just tons and tons of things. Also, obviously, recently we've had password sharing crackdown. Also, news today, Netflix is killing its casting from its mobile app to most TVs, which this is a little interesting because I feel like I don't know necessarily if this would be like protecting their intellectual property, or they just want to like control the native platform experience. I don't really know why. Why do we think they're doing this?
I think it could be one of those things. We saw the password crackdown in the past where, Netflix desperately wants to, either from a, perspective of, keeping all of your devices on a few Wi-Fi networks, for example, in the same geographic location, I think restricting at least the medium of the media, right? So you must watch it on your phone versus, casting to a TV. Those are two different experiences on two different devices. So in some ways, it's sort of like, well, why not make people pay for that. And I think that's kind of where it comes in, is like, well, the TV is a different experience. People being able to cast to their TV, gives them that experience for free. They don't have to
Yeah.
pay for another screen. They don't have to pay, because essentially, if your phone can no longer do this, you need to be signed in on two devices. That's two screens. That's two units of a Netflix subscription which you're using or need to pay for. So, from a practical standpoint, more for
So, for example, you're at your school. You want to load up on the projector, you want to load up a movie. You can't do that anymore from your subscription because they theoretically want another user for that, let's say school, right, to have their own account.
Exactly. No, the schools should have their own Netflix account on their own projector. Right.
On their own Wi-Fi. Yeah. So no more casting because that makes it too easy for people. But however, they're still allowing downloads, just no casting. And you can still screencast. You can still use an HDMI cable. So there still is a workaround potentially, right? They're just making it a little harder.
Yeah, and this kind of taps into some of the kind of customer sentiment behind the Netflix deal as well, because when you are combining the content from both Warner Bros and Netflix, you essentially are taking HBO and Netflix, which are two separate subscriptions now, and you will likely be have a mega bundle, in the sense where, okay, well, this is going to be $10 to $20 more, but here you have quote unquote more content to view. So in some ways it could be, essentially, either way, that's going to happen, right? Expect a higher price and more content over, the other options, but the issue kind of becomes, well, who the heck is going to really want a $30 subscription or even watch?
Well, it's just going back to cable now at this point, right? Like we've got now everything's just in one app versus under one cable provider that had the content. So it's all kind of coming full circle in a sense. But I did see it was interesting how we're going to be defining Netflix, right? Because so Paramount obviously also wants to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, right? So but their bid now, we're not going to get into necessarily politics where the money's coming from. It's a larger offer, but Paramount is a smaller entity, compared to Warner Brothers, compared to Netflix. And so they're saying that, well, our content, our expertise is not going to be as much of a threat to Netflix, right? Or compared to Netflix, where Netflix is going to take over, cut jobs, and they don't know what they're doing. And so it's going to harm the consumer, maybe down the road, I guess. I don't know. So,
Well, and yeah, there are some specifics, about the deals themselves. I mean, the Netflix deal for Warner Brothers, has already been signed. So Paramount is sort of coming in, kicking the door down, sort of saying, hey, we will give you, more or less a better deal in terms of just the actual raw cash provided per share, but also setting it up for perhaps an interesting situation where there could be a shareholder vote. This is more, and that's, you may have seen the term hostile takeover, sort of against the wishes of management. Ultimately, the shareholders have final say. in how the deal is, which deal is accepted. So that's kind of why, it's maybe not necessarily hostile to the shareholder, but it is hostile in the sense that this was not a welcome, it was unsolicited.
The
Somebody,
beginning, Paramount's been doing that. Yeah.
um, somebody came up and, wrote a fat check, and now it's like, okay, so we need to um, really consider what we're doing here. And I think the other big difference too is, splitting off the global networks. Thinking about, this is essentially for the Netflix deal, they're after the content. And, as far as the cable, television networks, as we said before, CNN, TNT, TBS, Discovery, this, you know, those would be sort of spun off under the Netflix deal. They're just at it for the content and not necessarily any other anything else. They want the IP and that's it.
Yeah. So, big news we're following. Obviously, Trump has also weighed in on this acquisition and says that there will need to be discussion, obviously, whether they're gonna, let a tech how are they gonna let a tech company? Are they gonna let Netflix take over, or are they going to let Paramount or block both of them?
Well, and I mean, this is again, I mean, there's arguments for both sides, right? I mean, Netflix has deeper pockets, as you said. They're a larger organization. They have a deal that's already signed, so kind of, unlike the personal world, breaking up costs billions of dollars. So there is a termination disincentive when you already have a deal which has been signed.
Yeah.
And Netflix does have more, Netflix is a larger entity. However, Paramount, they're offering cold hard cash. There's no stock, there's no Netflix stock that you have to worry about. You get cash and you get it as soon as you accept. And again, as you mentioned, the regulatory landscape right now is very complex. So we don't, particularly know how or if this will go through, if, one way or the other. It's hard to say either way.
Yeah.
But, I guess either path forward, I think, as far as the cable news segment of Warner Bros. Discovery, um, it'll come down to the question of, is Netflix being smart, leaving these cable networks behind? Or is Paramount right in that there's still life and money, I guess, in owning these cable networks?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we see all the tech companies like Amazon obviously carrying sports on, I believe, Thursday. We see Apple getting in there for soccer. We see, Netflix doing some of the fight coverage, comedy. I mean, they're really, really like, this is the new wave of, I mean, we know streaming is the future. We know, I mean, there's still some people with cable, but I mean, which company can amass not only intellectual property but an audience? I mean, Netflix obviously they've been licensing content from Warner Brothers and others for years to have their films on their platform, and I think in a sense, obviously acquiring Warner Brothers would eliminate some of that and give Netflix exclusive rights to have that. But consolidation in this industry is needed and has been needed for a while. So it's not really surprising to see multiple bids for Warner Brothers Discovery, but I mean, I don't know. Should we let a more of a tech company take over? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I think we should move on. In other news, we have some smart gadgets to discuss to discuss
Well,
today.
yeah, no, I mean, let's get into it. I mean, we have a very I'd say I'm smart gadget averse, but I do find myself being interested in kind of the newfangled things that you've discovered in some ways.
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, whether it's like a smart coffee machine or doorbell, smart locks. We obviously covered this recently, a few episodes months ago, but there's some interesting new tech that is helping you dispose of your food waste. So there's multiple companies doing this. One is called Lomi. Lomi is a countertop food recycler. There's one called Mill, which I have just obtained, and I'm playing with this. It's a basically the tech is pretty fascinating. These are waste bins that recycle and sort of compost in a way your food waste. And it is chopping it up. So anyway, for those of you who have not considered maybe managing your food waste in a different way. Obviously, anything from celery bunches, broccoli, banana peels, orange peels. I mean, gosh, anything can go in there really, as long as it's edible. So there's different ones. I mean, Lomi is now available in Costco, believe it or not. And Lomi, I believe, uses enzymes, which the Mill recycler does not use. But yeah, I mean, there's really quite a need. I think more people are waking up to the multiple ways to dispose and recycle your food, which you can turn. This can actually be plantable. Excuse me. Use it for your plants. You can send them to farms. The Mill subscription. They have one that is that you can actually get the food waste picked up and donated, I guess, to a farm near you. But yeah, no, the app experience for this model, I was actually really impressed with. It's told me, that turkey from Thanksgiving, it's got a scale inside it, so it can measure your, if it needs to do a cycle, it'll measure your impact. Anything from eggshells, nut seeds, celery, carrots, fruits, vegetables, peels, fish skins. I mean, gosh, anything really. It's really interesting. So far, I have already saved 18 pounds of food scraps. So it's counting how many pounds you are diverting from landfills. And I don't know. I mean, if you eat fairly healthy, I mean, I've been another thing that's not really tech related, but I think we've talked about it. A way to save on cans if you'd like seltzer, sparkling water. Obviously, you can get a carbonator like a Soda Stream, and this you just get the carbon dioxide canisters. Usually, they're about 60 liters. It'll make about 60 liters of sparkling water, and then you obviously don't have cans, wasted cans, and then you can recycle the canisters. You can send it back to get refilled. So it's interesting because you're really eliminating waste with all these decisions. So kind of interesting. And the energy use is pretty low with these sorts of devices. So if you're eating fairly healthy, this is one smart home gadget that might be worth checking out.
Thinking about, yeah, and I thought it was really cool. I mean, especially with waste, dealing with it at home. I mean, it's a novel concept, because even most municipal composting services, they basically come and collect your food scraps straight from your home. So in essence, you have a bucket of food scraps that you keep. I'm sure LA does some
form of this, yeah.
some form of this, but I mean, I'll have people who, and it's smart, but they'll just keep a bin of food scraps in the freezer. And
Wow.
that's your compost bin. But then it also takes up space in your freezer. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
and
amazing how efficient it is. I mean, I'm surprised for how much volume you put in this device. It really just grinds it down to nothing. I mean, it really does. And then when it's time to take out the dirt, you can, use it for your plants, your garden. You can really anywhere that needs dirt. I mean, even outside in your neighborhood, there's probably a place you could put some fresh soil. I mean, that's always good. There's dogs peeing on, on various, people all around. It's going to settle into the soil. So I don't think sprinkling your food, recycling, dirt, compostable, whatever, is really that, there's probably a place you could dump it under a bush, okay? Out in nature. And, that is saving from a landfill. It's interesting. I really do like the app experience for the mill one. I don't have experience with the other devices, but I'm testing this one. They have a subscription where you pay about I think $5 plus tax a month, and it's not a installment plan. It's like more of a subscription to own plan, so you can eventually buy it out or decide after a year that you would actually like to return it. So. Yeah, I mean, fairly a reasonably priced way to deal with this, diverting. Also, I mean, if you have a garden, you might have, this is kind of a natural fertilizer. So, you're not really needing fertilizer, right? And needing dirt to repot plants. So, this could be, an option for people, to use in their gardens. So, also, I find the app is interesting because it shows your impact, and also, so far, the mill community has kept over 15 million pounds of food out of the landfill as of December 2025. So currently, that's a lot of waste. 15 million pounds of food scraps out of the landfill across the country since mill started until now, 2025 December. So kind of crazy to think about. Everybody, I don't know how many thousands of these they've sold or are out in the wild being used, but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
it's kind of a cool gadget to a problem. I mean, where you may not have a local composting um situation, and honestly, even if you do just have a giant pile of stuff outside, I mean, this I think a key benefit you were telling me about is this more or less accelerates the process to get from food to dirt by 100 times.
Yeah. Well,
So
obviously, you don't have to
that's
go out and
huge.
stir it. I mean, it does use a little energy versus a normal compost, or even those little bins that you turn. Uh, Obviously, but yeah, no, this is accelerating with using heat. The other one I think uses enzymes. Uh, anyway, the process is a little different, but the tech, there's a scale, there's a activated carbon filter in there, which you, with the subscription, you can get included whenever you need a new filter if it starts smelling. But yeah, no, completely scent free. And a great way to dispose of food scraps. If you've got a garden, obviously there goes another reason maybe to consider this. Obviously, I've already saved 18 pounds of trash out of my, in the past month or ish, right? I mean, that's a lot. That would have been in my trash can and going out in trash bags. So that's a lot of food waste. So, obviously less plastic bags, less going to the landfill. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and transportation is a big part of that too. Just
Yeah.
moving trash to where it needs to go.
Well, it's
Um,
interesting you bring that up because this device also tracks. I don't know if the Lomi one does it, but it also tracks your energy use. So Lomi is a little more affordable. It's also smaller. I've noticed the Lomi one is a smaller desk countertop style, different format, but I don't know if it tracks energy use, but it's interesting you say that, because obviously this device is grinding and heating the food scraps, with its mechanisms inside. But obviously, shipping food waste is also energy, right? So having a truck coming for your extra waste is also. So what's worse, right? I would assume probably the truck is worse than a little bit of energy because obviously you can have clean energy sources. You can have solar on your house. You can, and also the little bit of energy it takes to grind and heat the food scraps into compost is really probably not the same of every house and a truck. I don't know, but that would be an interesting comparison too. But yeah, there's just another example of how tech is recycling food to save the environment little by little.
And honestly, I mean, I guess I don't eat nearly enough fresh fruit to make use of it, but it does seem interesting.
It's well, I mean, a lot.
Old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean,
but
eggshells. You've got broccoli, cauliflower pieces, peppers, carrot tops, cilantro. You can do, obviously, banana peels, orange peels, mandarin peels, apple cores. There's a lot you can put in there, and you should be eating an apple every day. You should be eating a banana or two every day. I mean, most people probably should. It's healthy, it's a free Ozempic, right? Just eating healthy and being active it's not that hard. So it's also a reminder. I mean, I'll tell you, I put 1 pound of food. The thing just told me that when I was looking at the app talking about it, it just told me I put 1 pound of food scraps today. And all I had was 2 banana peels in there and an apple core. I think that was it. Maybe 1 or 2 other little things. Maybe like a lemon slice from my lemon peel. That's it, right? I mean, it almost is like now a game. I want to put more stuff in there. So now I want to eat healthier every day. So it's kind of a cool little game. How much compost can I generate now at this point? So,
well, you have to be careful. It may convince you to make more waste, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, because obviously it's really chopping it down, and it's not really waste if you think about it. It's really not. I mean, I can tell you the bushes outside here would love some fresh dirt on top, right? I mean, also my plants inside could sprinkle some dirt and replant part of it, right? I mean, obviously, I think it's good to have that. So I can't speak to having used it yet, but speaking of also the environment, technology, I guess this is sort of a techie thing, but are we familiar with the lettuce grow hydroponic? There's other companies doing this. This is just one. There's the Eden Garden, but we know about these devices, right? These Farmstand gardens. These are like indoor gardens that don't need dirt. Yeah. They don't use dirt. They're hydroponic. Now, thinking about it, obviously, you're growing it yourself. You don't need pesticides. You don't need, so you know where it came from. And you're also reducing your impact. If you think about it, you really are reducing your impact on the planet here, because if you think about it, what's going on with this? You are growing your own food for your own smoothies, your own salad, and it's not that hard to do, and you harvest it when you need it. Okay. And obviously, the more you do this, growing it at home every month, every week, you've got new things growing. You're harvesting it from a box. I mean, this is also a tech product that is making it's on a timer. It waters itself. Yeah, I mean, this is also another little cool kitchen thing, right? Where you can grow your own food at home, reducing the need to rely fully on the grocery store. So,
And not to make this continually sound like a Costco ad, but the Farmstand Nook is available for $5.99 if you want to shave $200 off your
is that from
bougie.
Costco?
It's the Lettuce Grow Farmstand Nook, so it's the same exact thing, just from Costco, $200 less. So it makes your artisan salad 25% cheaper, which also helps.
That's
But
pretty good.
if you are looking at it, because you do have one, and I think your issue is you have too much salad. No.
I have too much salad. I have a 6 level. I have the original. I don't have the Nook. I have the larger one. And for me, it's a light for my apartment right here. It's lighting me, but also it's growing food. And so I actually have not harvested the lettuce, and it needs to be harvested. So yeah, I have a problem where some of it actually needs to be eaten faster, and I'm not doing that. So it is just kind of growing a little bit out of control sometimes. But yeah, I haven't. It's a reminder to make more smoothies. But yeah, no, that's a really interesting, because the Nook, I will say, is a smaller footprint. So the original, which you can still buy, I believe,
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
larger tank at the bottom. It water. That's where the water goes, and then the pump pumps up. There are other versions of this. There are other companies making similar, units. But I don't know the smart features of the Nook. I do think it's more app compatible, like maybe remotely controlled or something. I don't know if it has cameras in it. I know the original is just simply on a timer. So, but the original looks more like ring lights, where this Nook has like smaller lights. It's just, again, a smaller footprint. It's still doing the same thing, taking up less space on the floor, and obviously less light. The light fixture's a little bit better. So pretty cool. Obviously just a way to grow something. Also, it looks like feng shui, right? So kind of techie, I guess. People think it looks kind of, at my place. People come over and they think it looks, wow, that looks really futuristic. So not necessarily super techie, but growing your own hydroponic lettuce, is that related to tech? I don't know. I think it's more like a sustainable garden system, but
Well, it's kind of a weird crossover, right? Because you have the technology which manages how I mean, it is hydroponic in that it is much less maintenance than a traditional garden. You're not pulling weeds or fertilizing or messing around with dirt, but so there is a technical component to it, but you still are somewhat connected to the thing you are eating. Um, so I think it's tech related.
yeah.
It's a
Well,
lot more
it's
tech
also,
related than some things.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, speaking of like lights, I mean, because I've automated when the light turns on at sunset, or turns, excuse me, off at sunset and on at sunrise. Smart home devices, obviously, I think begin with smart plugs and smart lights, but Walmart is still, I believe, having a sale right now on an affordable Google Home camera that's $10. How is this possible?
Well, I sent you that just because it's a little creepy, right? To have we have essentially a full HD camera that you can place within your home for $10. And
I
I
guess it's
thought that was a
22
little.
now.
Well, yeah,
I guess it's,
I don't know the length of the sale or even how to get it or what code you may need to use, but at one point it was $10 on sale. So
wow.
it's again, it's kind of, on one hand, it is more accessible than ever to monitor every square inch of your home. On the other hand, who really wants that?
Yeah.
So something to think
Well,
about. It just stuck out to me because it's, again, $10 for a full HD camera. Um,
that's compatible with Google Home, which obviously can do all the recording if you pay for the plan, which is fascinating to me because yeah, even when it's not on sale, $22. Keep in mind the Google indoor cameras are quite a bit more. So they're in the $200 range. So it's worth mentioning that if this speaks to you, it's called the ONN brand, and it's Walmart's brand, and
yeah,
it's
that's
a
their
yeah
store brand, but it's Google Home compatible.
yeah
Um, it just, again, stuck out to me for the $10 price point. I don't think you know it's interesting to see what, I mean, as cameras become more and more accessible, and we've talked about this from a privacy perspective. But again, I mean, we're at the point where, I mean, you can't get much cheaper than $10, right? Functionally. So, what does the future look like as far as, we already have a surveillance state of Ring video doorbell cameras, and whatnot. So again, and they're catching on. I mean, I see them, more or less, we have one of the largest private surveillance states in, really, in the world. It's kind of, people like to bring up China in this debate or argument, I guess, but when you really look at the number of Ring cameras that are privately owned, that more or less provide your data to a private entity, then that's okay.
yeah
Because I think Ring is still an Amazon subsidiary. Um, Amazon
yes
having control over it is fine. That's
yeah
cool. You know,
yeah That's crazy. I mean, yeah, for $10. So they're using the Matter standard to connect and integrate with Google Home. And Google Home Premium, which is used to be called Nest Aware, is the cloud storage option. So obviously most cameras like this, including the ones Google sells, do not have onboard storage. However, for $10 a month or $100 a year, you get to extend that recording capability, I believe, for about a week or 24 hours to 7 days. I don't know. There's multiple plans. Actually, we should go to that Google Home Premium options.
well, it's
So we don't
interesting.
get
So, are
because they just changed
what
it.
is
Well,
I-
I'm getting a 403 error on their website right now. Is that correct? Oh no, never mind. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, it starts at $10 a month for Google Home Premium, and if you don't subscribe, you get 3 hours of event-based recording for free. If you pay for the advanced plan for Google Home, so Google Home Premium is the option for your home. There's two plans, standard and advanced. Standard is $10 a month or $100 a year. Advanced is $20 a month or $200 a year. You get double, so 30 days of event-based video history with standard, 60 with advanced. And with advanced, you get 24/7 video history, 10 days for all cameras and wired doorbells. So quite a lot more recording capability, more notification alerts, and I guess more intelligence with the first one. Anyway, Google is always changing this stuff, but I guess they also released new cameras. So if you want the Nest Cam indoor wired, which again for $23, not on sale, very similar to what Google is selling for a hundred. So that does make Google's camera look quite a bit more expensive. So,
I mean, this is it really, I don't spend a lot of time in the home space, so the whole, Google Home Premium and all this other, like I do have, one one camera, but it's from Ubiquiti/Unify. So I
yeah.
have a hard drive that I record, you know, information onto that does not go into the Google Cloud, and there's no subscription for this privilege. I think
I
that would be
see.
the only setup I could be, because it really is quite. I mean,
Well, are you talking from a price perspective, or what are you referring to?
well, I mean, it's enhanced security with Gemini. So basically, the very first bullet point is, you will be. I mean, your footage is not yours. It's not.
No,
It leaves your home, and same thing with Ring and other.
and Google processes it and looks at the no, yeah, 100%. Theoretically, it's deleted after your plan, but will it? I mean, honestly, with all these cameras, they don't have the I mean, gosh, it's just crazy. There are so many they probably are not storing it forever, but hey, maybe they are. It is worth to make things a little more confusing. Google One includes does not include YouTube Premium, but Google
Right,
One
right.
for 19 so 20 let's say $20 a month, 19.99, you get Google Home Premium Standard included, which is normally $10, and you get Gemini Pro. So basically, if you don't and you get 2 gigabytes, or excuse me, 2 terabytes of storage. So it's Google AI Pro 2 terabytes is the Google One tier. If you don't have this, I mean, most people that pay for Google storage probably have this because it's $20 a month, 2 terabytes of storage, Google Home Premium Standard included, and Gemini Premium. It's not the Ultra plan, but yeah, you're basically getting AI Gemini 3 for $20 a month with Google One. So Google One is kind of the way to go if you're interested in playing with Gemini and these smart home recording features that we were just talking about.
Well, home recording. I mean, I honestly am not too familiar with really any of this. Like, and I'm kind of glad I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to know the difference. And I know this is a tech podcast, but if you want my honest recommendation, it's just sort of like, if you are physically able to turn your light switch on, I believe you should get up and turn your light switch on. I don't know. I think of the opposite of a smart home over here.
Yes.
I have a pretty dumb home. I have Wi-Fi light bulbs that are not connected to my home network.
You must be what? Just scared of tech taking over your space when it doesn't work, or what? When it gets hacked? I mean, what? You must know
Sure.
something people don't know.
I'm
What are you scared of?
I mean, so number one, it's a security nightmare. I mean, you have devices which, are more or less made based on their feature set, based on their functionality, based on their price. Security is perhaps the lowest priority item when designing a smart home device. And number two, it's just sort of like, it's the setup, so you set everything up and perhaps it works perfectly, but I've seen people yelling at Amazon Alexa because it doesn't do what you want it to do, or it's just like, is this really going to make my life any measurably, is it going to make it measurably better? And it's a security headache, and I don't want to be hosting a a command and control botnet of light bulbs on my home network. Because what do I get? It's like, I get light bulbs that can change color. It's like, great. I want a white light bulb, preferably a little bit on the warmer scale. I don't really
But you
need.
don't want to remotely control it. So, but if somebody does, what is the worst that could happen if their home tech devices get hacked? What? Somebody turns on the lights and looks at their smart doorbell? I mean, what?
Well, sure. I mean, they can co-opt the device itself. I mean, sometimes they're used in larger scale attacks. Your device will be compromised, and it's called command and control. So they
Okay.
will use your smart light bulb to attack, I don't know, attack Azure or something. I mean, they pick a target. I mean, you're the target because they would like to co-opt your light bulb to help send a bunch of internet traffic to the real victim.
I
But
see.
I mean, from a camera perspective too, I mean, it is like, you know, I mean, the only way to stop it is to put a piece of tape over it. I mean, truly. Um,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want, at least in terms of like having that stored, that stored on the cloud, or at least available to the internet in a way where, someone could just sign in. I mean, there used to be websites where there was a registry of people who didn't reset the default login to their IP cameras. So you could just go around and like, I'd be like, wow, this is a lighthouse in, Ireland.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching, it's like I'm controlling their camera. It's like move down, move left, move right. I mean, it's like,
Sure.
now, I mean, it's the sort of like, if you put your camera on the internet and don't have a password to it, is it really, is it misuse of computer systems? I don't think so. It's literally out there. You just need to type in the right number. I mean, and it's publicly accessible. So I don't, it's just stuff like that. I just don't, and I don't really do anything interesting. I don't need to watch myself over the internet, or watch, I don't need to see my living room from like, the other side of the world. I guess it's, I lock my door when I
So,
leave, and then I come back and I unlock it with the key, and then that's how I know nothing's happening.
so then our smart lock secured, right? I mean, because it has to be over the Wi-Fi network. They'd have to hack your Apple account. They'd have to. I don't know. I feel pretty safe with my smart lock.
I mean, they're probably no less or any more secure than a standard lock. I mean, ultimately, I mean, this is getting into the technicals, but a lot of how secure your lock is really due to the construction of it. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
the, it's not necessarily if it's a smart lock or if it's key lock. How is it attached? Because a lot
Yes.
of people forget it's like a swift kick of the door. You can have all sorts of cool locks and stuff, but if it's not properly reinforced, you're just, a big guy can just roll in. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just how it is.
I see. Well, anyway, lots of tech devices for your home that are coming soon. We also will have to cover. We haven't really discussed it, but the new Meta glasses with the screen. Whoa. Kind of a crazy world we're entering here
Oh my
with
god! Thankfully, I haven't seen any of those yet. The Meta.
glass. Yeah,
Oh,
Uh
jeez.
yeah.
I don't know how that would I don't know how it would be helpful. But
Well, again, it's like a heads up display, right? Or oh, I got a text message and you can't look at your phone. You can't look at your whatever. It's just going to show it right in the glass. So, I don't know. It's very, very early on, but yeah, we'll have to next week maybe have a if we have time in Los Angeles at the Meta Lab, I don't know, maybe we'll have time depending on the hours of this location, but would be cool to go check it out. So we might have to report back. But yeah, more smart home devices coming soon. Don't miss, we're going to put up a buyer's guide this week by probably Friday, at least by the end of next week. By the time next week's show airs, we'll have a short little buyer's guide online. So stay tuned for our holiday picks.
Yeah, but we better not load it up with a bunch of smart stuff.
It doesn't have to all be smart home stuff, but yeah, like a cool little curated short list for cool tech products that you should consider for the holidays. Stay tuned to our website, techtalklive.xyz, coming soon to our blog.
And we'll be back next week.
We will.
Live episode. We will be together in one room. We'll have to do something. I don't really know. I don't know what, but stay tuned.
Stay
Episode
tuned. 109. Well, until next week, signing off. Listen anywhere you get your podcast and join us on the web at techtalklive.xyz. Until next Tuesday, signing off.